up on this edition of ATV News.
What's under this dance floor will keep you dancing.
These bikes aren't at the gym. We'll show you where you can study and ride.
Are you having a religious crisis? We'll show you who to talk to.
Try your luck at our new Aggie TV Sports Quiz Show.
Mother Nature has been teasing us with glimpses of springtime. I'll tell you if you can expect sunshine this week in weather.
All that and more, this is ATV News.
Welcome to this week's edition of ATV News. I'm Corinne LaRue.
And I'm Emily Hill. A code blue alert was sent out today. Ariana Piper is with us live to tell you about the alert.
Hi guys, I'm out here. We got a code blue alert earlier today, and it said that there was a armed person on campus. Luckily there was something that came out a few minutes later that said it was a mistake, but kind of freaked some people out. Students checked their phones after receiving a code blue alert about an armed aggressor on campus. Cafe workers hid in the back room. Another student watched his back. Less than 10 minutes after the alert, they received another message saying the alert team sent the code blue by accident when they were testing the system. They instructed students to resume normal activities and disregard the previous message. One student said the alert surprised him.
Weird to happen here. So, yeah, it was good after that. Everybody calmed down a lot.
What do I read now? Just read it again.
Thanks, Ariana.
A missionary for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints from Utah died this morning. A church spokesperson said 18-year-old Brennan Conrad from Hyde Park fell from the roof of his apartment building. Conrad had been serving in the Dominican Republic Santo Domenico mission since August of 2018. His local church leader described Conrad as a
bright, wonderful young man who was just a light in his family.
Conrad's family asked not to be contacted while they grieve.
A man is in jail today for sexually abusing a toddler. Police say Otto Kennedy was caught in the act of sexually assaulting a 2-year-old girl in Preston, Idaho. Law enforcement booked Kennedy in Logan, where he is currently being held in the Cache County Jail. Law enforcement officials say Kennedy was also arrested in 2011 for a sexual abuse of a minor. His charges include 7 counts of aggravated sexual abuse of a child, which is a first-degree felony.
16 states are suing President Trump after he declared a national emergency to build a border wall. I talked to a few students and an expert at USU to find out if it could be done.
Just yesterday, we apprehended 133 people.
President Trump is trying to build the border wall he promised in his campaign. He is now declaring a national emergency for what he calls a humanitarian crisis at the border. Students at USU have different reactions to the president's decision.
Trump is calling it a national emergency for this issue in order to get his own way with it. I don't agree with it.
I don't think a wall is necessarily vital to our country. I think, there can be better ways to regulate immigration.
I think it's honestly a good thing. And I mean, he really did try. This isn't any dictatorship move. It really is a national emergency.
It could be stopped, but But with the determination of the president, it's going to be kind of difficult.
Congress has to get their act together in a sense and come to a consensus on both sides in order for these checks and balances to work.
This isn't anti-immigration by any sense. There's many times where he stated, we need the people. Like, we need the people in America, in the jobs. We need the immigrants.
Politicians usually make a lot of promises they can't keep, but this is something Trump is really trying to push for.
It can be dealt with using social systems and other aspects of communication with Mexico or other surrounding areas.
This is just to restore back to a lawful country.
But is declaring a national emergency constitutional?
It violates the spirit, but not necessarily the letter of the Constitution.
Now that President Trump has declared a national emergency, his next step is to find money to build the wall. Although Congress could write a bill to restrict his access to that money. But the president could always veto that bill. Lyons says even if Congress couldn't stop the wall, getting contracts to build it would take a while.
6 months to a year before construction even would be initiated if money is moved this afternoon.
Lyons says it would be almost impossible to complete the wall before the 2020 elections.
Many families have already received their first of many calls from missionaries of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. LDS church leaders announced that members serving missions can now call their family once a week rather than twice a year. According to the LDS newsroom, there are more than 65,000 missionaries affected by the change.
My initial reaction was jealousy. However, I think it'll be a good thing to help those missionaries who need support. I do hope that it won't be a distraction for the missionaries, though.
Missionaries can start contacting home on a weekly basis starting the last Friday. You may know someone who felt the earthquakes last week in Salt Lake County. ATV's Paige Mendez spoke with a geology professor about the recent events.
Geology professors like James Evans track all movement of tectonic plates in the state through live seismographs. This seismogram is from this morning. Where this one gets wider and has red around it indicates a strong movement in the earth.
And we've had many earthquakes in Utah since people have started recording them.
This map shows where all recent quakes have occurred. There are dozens just in the past week. The difference, says Evans, is what we can feel and what we cannot.
I was woke up by rumbling and a shake.
This map shows she was not the only one who felt that way. The light blue area indicates where people reported they felt the tremble. That quake was in Bluffdale, Utah last week, and there have been several more reported up until even this morning. So what concerns do geologists have that we should know about?
The biggest concern for the risk in Utah is the Wasatch Fault, and the biggest risk factor for the Wasatch Fault is the section we call the Brigham City segment.
Evans says the Wasatch Fault is due to move any day now, and the key is to be prepared as best you can. Paige Mendez, ATV News.
Next week, we'll tell you about what to include in an earthquake survival kit.
Utah State University made a goal in 2007 to be carbon neutral by 2050. USU's newly formed Greenhouse Steering Committee is doubling down on that commitment. USU says it has reduced carbon emissions by 30% per square foot of campus and 20% per student since 2007, but higher student enrollment over the years has caused total emissions to stay the same. The committee says student education and input is part of the resolution.
People can kind of look out for more education information coming around for ways we can individually be involved. And then there are some other things happening. For example, a student in the King College of the Arts has written a couple grants for a small solar installation that will go in on the roof of that building.
The new committee says it has 3 goals: convert all campuses to LED light bulbs by 2021, eliminate coal as an energy source by 2023, and increase renewable sources of electricity like solar and water by 2024.
What does jazz music and swing dancing from the 1920s have to do with now? Cameron Kelly joins us live to tell us about it.
Hi, Emily. I went down to Jazz Nights. It's a fundraiser for Elite Hall, a dance hall that's over 100 years old. Now you can imagine with a building being over 100 years old, it's got some problems. I'll show you what happens.
It's music like this that keeps people moving at Jazz Nights, the event to raise money for Elite Hall.
I heard that there was a fun dance with a live band and decided to go dance, because dancing's fun.
There is something giving these dancers an extra bounce in their step. Under their feet are springs supporting the dance floor.
Elite Hall has the only functioning spring floor in Utah, which makes it easier for dancing.
Dance on the spring floor was, it moved around with you just a little bit, but not as bad as just like actually dancing on hardwood.
Jazz Night teamed up with Elite Hall in 2015.
I think it's kind of a fun way to, do this amazing event here and then also benefit the restoration as well.
Jamie Van Huss says the building has been here for generations and shouldn't be forgotten.
Also having modern, efficient systems in it, so electricity, heating and cooling, and also addressing some seismic issues.
Van Huss says utilities built during World War I need renovations.
This building is not getting torn down if I have anything to say about it.
Cameron Kelly, ATV News.
And you'll start talking.
Van Huss says the hall will continue to hold events like Jazz Nights to reach their goal of $2 million. Live from the newsroom, Cameron Kelly, ATV News.
Thanks, Cameron. It's chilly outside right now. I'll tell you if we will be seeing warmer temperatures this week. The current temp is 27.
I'm sorry guys for the mess up, but the current
pedaled downtown to Municipal Hall. We'll show you why they piled in and if the party paid off.
Struggle with science? We'll show you how to get help.
of the from Holly Glover from Lewiston. Thank you, Holly, for sending this. We are so thankful. If you have any pictures that you want to send our way, please feel free to share them on Facebook. All right, now if we can get our national forecast up. Beautiful, okay. So we're having some technical difficulties, but it's okay. All right, so what you're seeing, a lot of colors here, right? So the blue means snow, and the green that you're seeing is rain. So what we're seeing up here in like the North Dakota area is the winter storm Petra. So it's really a lot of snowfall there, and we actually have a picture. There we go. So this is in North Dakota just 2 days ago. So what you're seeing is heavy traffic, lots of snowstorms, so be careful out there. And now we're gonna head over to our state forecast to see what we're seeing. So we're seeing a lot of colors up in our area too. So snowfall in the canyon. UDOT actually sent out a report just a couple hours ago saying that if you're driving through Sardine Canyon, to make sure you're using four-wheel drive or chains. But as I checked just about 40 minutes ago, they had a snowplow going through and the roads are looking clear, but still use caution when you drive through the canyon. All right, now on to our 7-day forecast. On Wednesday, today, we are experiencing just some cloudy weather. Not too bad outside, 27 degrees with a low of 7, and we're experiencing about the same temperatures tomorrow. Friday, it's sunny. We're getting rid of those clouds, but we are dropping temps a little bit. Saturday, we'll be experiencing some snow showers, so if you want to build a snowman, Saturday will be a great day. And then on Sunday, we're seeing that sun peek out again, and our temperature is rising 33 degrees, and our low is 26. So that's our high today, which is exciting that our temperatures are rising. Hello, springtime. And on Monday and Tuesday, we will be seeing some snow showers. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you. Did you know that only 6% of airline pilots are women? One program aims to change that. ATV's Nick Porth was there to see how they took off for their first week.
These girls are flying their foam gliders.
Okay. Thank you.
As a part of the Girls Aviation Workshop.
So this is the Cash Makers event, so it's an aviation camp basically. We have a group of 16 girls and we're just kind of going through aviation little by little.
Any guesses? Yeah?
We are teaching them the 4 forces of flight, which are thrust, drag, weight, and lift. Those forces oppose each other, and you have to overcome things such as drag with thrust in order to fly. So we're kind of teaching them how that works.
If that makes sense.
This program focuses on young women who aspire to be in aviation.
We usually aim for like a middle to high school range. We do have a couple girls who are like in 5th or 6th grade though.
It's more than just learning how to fly.
It's just to really focus young girls on maybe getting involved in an industry that, while it is male dominated, they know that there is a space for them. They are welcome in that industry, and that they can do it just as well.
And that's how we can hover.
Students learned about flight control, aerodynamics, and what makes this fly like this.
We're basically applying the aerodynamics we learned, and they're cutting out little patterns, and we're going to have a competition.
These gliders are only the beginning of what the workshop has to offer. Nick Porth, ATV News.
The USU Women in Aviation Club will be running the workshop for the next 6 weeks.
What if you could exercise while you get homework done at the same time? The Merrill-Kaiser Library has new desks that will change the way you study. These new cycling desks are in the south side of the first floor in the library. You can sit and pedal while you study. One student says these desks are better than a regular stationary bike.
The seats look really uncomfortable, but it's not bad at all. I expected it to be worse, but I would say they're even better than the ones at the gym.
USU Campus Recreation provided the cycling desks. You can also find the desks in the Aggie Recreation Center.
You can see the paper and clay exhibit in the Tippett and Eccles galleries until March 1st. Students can now meet one-on-one with a local church leader to talk about religion, existentialism, or discuss any other related concerns. Glass Coffin organized the new clergy conversations and says she hopes students from all backgrounds feel included.
When we feel like we're heard, we're seen, we're understood, we're listened to, we generally feel pretty much better about the rest of the day and maybe the rest of the week. And so that's my goal.
You can talk with the clergy members in the room across the Anthropology Museum. They meet on Tuesdays from 3 to 5 p.m.
Josh Witzel joins us for sports. Tell us what's coming up next.
Tonight we got another basketball game going on, and we'll tell you the last time the Aggies won 20 games in a basketball season.
When we come back, they're starting with gliders, hoping they will end up in the cockpit.
Have you burned any calories while studying? We'll show you how.
They said I couldn't dream. Called me a piece of trash and swore that's all I'd ever be. said a bottle couldn't see the ocean. Give up. Go back to the dumpster. But I didn't listen. I made my way. And now, I am what I've always wanted to be.
Welcome to the first edition of the Aggie TV Sports Quiz. I'm your host, Josh Witzel. Let's get into question 1. How many schools in the nation won 11 games in football and 20 in men's basketball this season? Was it 1, 5, 2, or 4? We'll give you 3 seconds to answer. And the answer is 2 teams. Those 2 teams that won 11 games in football and 20 games in basketball are Utah State and Cincinnati. Let's move on to question 2. When was the last time that Utah State won 20 games in basketball? Was it 2014 to 15, 2012 to 2013, 2010 to 2011, or 2011 to 2012? I'll give you a few seconds to find your answer. That's right, the answer is 2012 to 2013. That year they won 21 games but didn't qualify for the NCAA tournament. It has been 6 years since the Aggies made it to the 20-win threshold, and this year Utah State is hoping to make the NCAA tournament for the first time since the 2010-2011 season. And now to question 3. What Aggie sports highlights do you guys want to see? We'll start you off with basketball. Coming off a loss at San Diego State, Utah State was back at home last week against Wyoming. Dwayne Brown Jr. finds a cutting Merrill, who stops and hits the which his only make from inside the arc. Brock Miller with a baseline drive kicks it to Merrill in the corner, and the leading scorer knocks down the 3 on his way to scoring 19 points. And Quinn Taylor, who gets it to Nemias Keita, throws it back to Taylor. He finishes the layup with a foul. He finished with 14 points and 10 rebounds. And here's Keita again showing off the passing skills, finding a wide open Diego Brito, who hits the corner 3 ball. Next Aggie possession, it's Brito again, but first, Merrill with one of his 6 assists for the day. Brito hits the reverse layup, and that's 2 straight buckets for him. He finished the game with 9 points. Here the Aggies are closing out the Cowboys. Abel Porter throws a lob to Nemias Keita, who finishes the and one. Aggies win this one 76-59, and Quinn Taylor says defense was the key in the second half.
They were able to shoot, I think Coach said 61% in the first half. We came out and held them to 26% in the second half, and that's really what changed the game.
The Aggies will be back at home tonight to play New Mexico at the Spectrum. This game will also be broadcast on ESPNU. Sam Merrill led the Aggies with 20 points as they beat the Air Force Falcons 76-62 in Colorado Springs Saturday, giving the Aggies a 20-6 record on the year. Utah State was looking to break their 6-game losing streak at the Spectrum against Air Force. Rachel Brewster is passing to Shannon Duffy, who gets it back to Brewster, and she finishes the little push shot. Brewster finds a wide open Steph Gorman, and she knocks down this 3-pointer, tying up the game at 40. Gorman returns the favor, finding Brewster, who knocks down the jumper. Brewster led the Aggies in scoring with 17 points. Eliza West drives and kicks it to Gorman, who knocks down the corner 3. She made 4 on the day as the Aggies win this one 64-55, ending their 6-game losing streak.
It was just really exciting to finally get a win, and it was a good win, and I think that we still have a lot to improve on from that game.
Utah State's next game is tonight at 7 p.m. at New Mexico. Coming off a loss at San Diego State, Utah State was back at home last week against Wyoming. Sanford started his post-college career at UNLV, then worked for Stanford, then picked up a job at Yale, then Western Kentucky, returned to Stanford, held the offensive coordinator position at Boise State and at Notre Dame. Then he landed the head coaching position at Western Kentucky before coming here to Utah State. And while at Western Kentucky, he took his team to a bowl game as the youngest coach in his division of NCAA football. Sanford says there was one driving factor that led him to ending up at Utah State.
to know that your head coach believes in you and believes in what you're going to do offensively, that's a big thing for me at that point in time.
For the full interview from the radio show, follow the link on our Facebook page. Coach Gary Anderson and his staff have signed 30 future Aggies to the football team. 16 came this month, following the 14 signed in December. ESPN has ranked this signing class the second best in the Mountain West. Women's tennis played their final home match of the month against the University of Idaho. The Aggies started their Monday morning by winning in doubles, but singles were tougher. Here's sophomore Alexandra. Oh, here we go. Now we're getting caught up. Here's the singles match that was going on. And now we're still in singles, and here's Pierce VA. She lost in the number 2 set. And here's Laura Spataro taking on the Vandals, and she wins the point. Junior Rhoda Tanui played a later match against Marta Magalhaes. Magalhaes also took this one in 2 sets as the Vandals went on to win 4-3. Women's tennis won't be back in Logan until April 12th when they'll face Wyoming. And now you're all caught up on everything Cache Valley sports. Back to you, Emily.
Thanks, Josh. The Diversity Center at USU says its main goal is to include all students. The Access and Diversity Center houses 8 different clubs. The center provides a supportive environment for LGBTQA, multicultural, and non-traditional students. The center is trying to raise awareness and promote diversity on campus by focusing on PR and marketing. The Access and Diversity VP says the center is continuing to make improvements, but they are proud of the diversity they do have on campus.
Just this year alone on USUSA, we have more women than men as far as officers go, and that's the first time in our recorded history that we've got it. And then you also have someone like me, who's the first openly gay individual on USUSA at all.
Have you ever loved doing something but you weren't naturally good at it? ATV's Ayana Likens introduces you to one guitar player who says his love for playing doesn't stem from natural talent.
Playing the guitar is something this artist says is his passion.
I certainly couldn't live without music.
Boatwright says strumming chords doesn't come naturally to him, so he practices about 8 hours a day.
If you just sit around and you think that you're talented and you naturally have a gift for something, you're not going to get anywhere, because hard work will trump talent 10 times out of 10.
Boatwright's professor agrees with him. In a Facebook post he wrote, "That talent thing everyone is talking about? Yeah, mega overrated." So he encourages Boatwright to practice.
He's got a really strong work ethic. I mean, I'll come up here sometimes, 10 o'clock at night, and he's the last one in the practice room.
Boatwright says Wild Thing is the first song he ever played, and he was only 8 years old.
Ever since I was young, I just remember this is like just having a feeling that this is something I always need to do.
Boatwright says one of the best days of his musical career was meeting one of his biggest inspirations, John Pizzarelli.
His music has opened so many doors to me for checking out other music and finding different inspirations, and just to finally meet him was absolutely amazing.
Performing on this stage alongside Boatwright is artist Wayne Wilkinson, and Boatwright says this performance was his all-time favorite.
To be able to share the stage with someone who inspires you is really humbling.
Ayana Likens, ATV News.
Boatwright plays in the jazz ensemble on campus and encourages you to come to one of their shows this semester. The Kane College of Arts and the Department of Art and Design are putting on the Paper and Clay art show that you can see here on campus. The gallery has ceramic and wall art on display that you can check out. BFA and MFA ceramic and printmaking students from USU and other colleges created the art.
There are students from all over the United States that enter into this show, and it is judged by an international well-known artist.
You can see the paper and clay exhibit in the Tibbetts and Eccles galleries until March 1st.
Thanks for joining us on this edition of ATV News.
We'll leave you with some shots of campus.